Donald Trump is fast realizing just how incompetent his leadership is proving to be, with country after country making a mockery of his administration. First, the Houthis in Yemen, then Iran, followed by Russia, and now India. No one appears to be taking the convicted felon and suspected pedo seriously. No wonder, just days after flaunting his false bravado by announcing to deploy nuclear submarines against Russia, Trump has now been forced to eat humble pie. Today, he told reporters that he was sending his special envoy on everything, Steve Witkoff, to Russia.
Russia, Mr. President, can you say, have those nuclear submarines been deployed yet to face Russia?
I've already put out a statement, and the answer is they are in the region, yeah, where they have to be.
Is what Steve Witkoff's message will be to the Russians? Is there anything they can do to avoid sanctions at this point?
Yeah, get a deal where people stop getting killed. They had a number that just came out that a tremendous number of Russian soldiers are being killed. And likewise, Ukraine, a lower number, but still thousands and thousands of people. And now we're adding towns where they're being hit by missiles. So it's a lot of people being killed in that ridiculous war.
Can you give us an update on Steve Witkoff in Russia and what happens on Friday if the deadline comes and Russia has not agreed to a ceasefire?
Well, there'll be sanctions, but they seem to be pretty good at avoiding sanctions. You know, they're wily characters and they're pretty good at avoiding sanctions. So we'll see what happens. But Steve is focused right now on the border in terms of, we're talking about with Gaza, getting people fed. And he may be going, I think next week, Wednesday or Thursday, may be going to Russia.
This is the reality of Trump. There is a reason why he's acquired the nickname of Taco. Trump always chickens out.
Mr. President, Wall Street analysts have coined a new term called the taco trade. They're saying Trump always chickens out on your tariff threats, and that's why markets are higher this week. What's your response to that?
I kick out?
Chicken out.
Oh, isn't that nice? Chicken out. I've never heard that. You mean because I reduced China from 145% that I set down to 100 and then down to another number? And I said you have to open up your whole country. And because I gave the European Union a 50% tax tariff, and they called up and they said, please, let's meet right now. Please, let's meet right now. And I said, OK, I'll give you till July 9. I actually asked them, I said, what's the date? Because they weren't willing to meet. And after I did what I did, they said, we'll meet anytime you want. And we have an end date of July 9th. You call that chickening out? Because we have $14 trillion now invested, committed to investing when Biden didn't have practically anything. This country was dying. You know, we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. I went to Saudi Arabia. The king told me. He said, you got the hottest, we have the hottest country in the world right now. 6 months ago, this country was stone cold dead. We had a dead country. We had a country people didn't think it was going to survive, and you ask a nasty question like that.
He first told the world that the US military would destroy the Ansarullah fighters or the Houthis. But within days, we learned that he was desperately requesting the Sultanate of Oman for a ceasefire with the Yemeni fighters. So much so that he even started to praise the Houthis for their bravery.
Take a look. But, you know, we had really a very good, as you know, we had a very good outcome with the Houthis, and we honor their word. I mean, they made a commitment, and we dealt with other countries that were close to them and their surrogates, and we honor all of their words. And we'll see what happens, but I think, you know, I believe that hopefully that's over with, and they'll leave the ships alone, you know, just leave those ships alone. But so we do. We take their word for it. It was, you know, we hit them very hard. They had a great capacity to withstand punishment. They took tremendous punishment. And, you know, you could say there's a lot of bravery there. It was amazing what they took. But we honor their commitment and their word. They gave us their word that they wouldn't be shooting ships anymore, and we honor that.
He claimed to obliterate Iran's nuclear facilities, even though he simply couldn't muster the courage to do so. Realizing the ferocity of Iranians' ballistic and hypersonic missiles, Trump soon began to call for peace with Tehran. He was so frightened that he even used expletives for terrorist Benjamin Netanyahu after this war criminal was seen to be violating the ceasefire with Iran.
Israel says that Iran violated the peace agreement and the ceasefire agreement. Do you believe that Iran is still committed to peace?
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too.
Are you questioning if Israel is committed?
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I've never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
He also tried to arm twist China by threatening to impose tariffs, but had to backtrack even on that after China announced a retaliatory tariffs. Now, even India has hit back after Trump told New Delhi to stop buying oil from Russia. You have to read the statement from Indian government's External Affairs Ministry. External Affairs Ministry issued a hard-hitting statement exposing the hypocrisy of the EU and the US itself. Its statement read, and I quote, India has been targeted by the United States and the European Union for importing oil from Russia after the commencement of the Ukrainian conflict. In fact, India began importing from Russia because traditional supplies were diverted to Europe after the outbreak of the conflict. The United States at that time actively encouraged such imports by India for strengthening global energy market stability. This is very, very crucial. The statement goes on to read, India's imports are meant to ensure predictable and affordable energy costs to the Indian consumer. They are a necessity compelled by global market situation. However, it is revealing that the very nations criticizing India are themselves indulging in trade with Russia. Unlike our case, such trade is not even a vital national compulsion. The European Union in 2024 had a bilateral trade of 67.5 billion euro in goods with Russia. In addition, it had trade in services estimated at 17.2 billion euro in 2023. This is significantly more than India's total trade with Russia that year or subsequently. In this background, the targeting of India is unjustified and unreasonable. Like any major economy, India will take all necessary measures to safeguard its national interests and economic security. End quote. Now, it remains to be seen if India would stick to its strong words or capitulate before the US because the current Modi government is known to be inconsistent with its foreign policy. In the meantime, Palestinians in Gaza continue to be massacred. Latest data by the UN says Israelis have been killing 28 children a day. This doesn't include those being killed by the forced starvation. That's it from me. Thank you very much for your support of this platform and our journalism on buymeacoffee.com and Patreon. If you do think that our journalism is worth supporting, then you too should consider becoming part of it. In the meantime, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so because that's one of the many ways you can support independent journalism. God bless you all.